All right, Daredevil Born Again, the Disney Marvel sort of continuation of the Daredevil franchise. It started over on Netflix, and everybody just clamored for more of that and not the watered down, generic Disney Marvel content. So now we're going to get Born again because season 3 of Daredevil over at Netflix was essentially a watered down version of Daredevil Born Again, the story. So now we're going to get a different version of that. And I want to talk a little bit about the show, what I've liked so far, what I don't, and we can kind of go around from there. So the opening 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so center around the main three characters. You have Karen and Foggy walking with Matt Murdock, who's kind of hung up the costume, man. He's just not doing the vigilante thing. There are references in the first episode about how it's been a long time since we've seen Daredevil, and that's kind of how it's going to progress, at least in the interim. Because if you don't want spoilers, I kind of have to warn you now. I kind of have to drift into spoilers to talk about the show. I really wanted to record something before I could listen to other people's reactions to this, because I'm not sure where I land on it, because I'm kind of mixed. I'm enjoying this. I actually am surprised that most of it's pretty good. That first 10 to 15 minutes is really quite good. It's very edgy. It's dark. Yeah, another again, spoiler warning. It gives you a feel for everything that came over from the Netflix series. It's trying to do those elements, even if they have their own set of new flaws. But you've been warned. Yeah, Bullseye shows up and assassinates Foggy. And I think the immediate hunt is really the highlight of the first two episodes in their battle, because Bullseye and Daredevil go fisticuffs and sort of what's supposed to be a kind of a mimic of those one take excellent sequences that are from the Netflix version, but it's not nearly as good. And obviously it's edited. It's just not smooth, not believable. And the CGI is really wonky. I really can't stand that superhero shows just don't know how to, they write themselves into this corner. Hey, there's this emergency. I'm here in my street clothes, but I need to be right over here is the vigilante. And it's like, it doesn't work, because what would be like he can't physically do all that in 3 seconds. So you have this sequence where it feels like it's taking way too long to get there to confront Bullseye. And the CGI is actually pretty wonky in a couple spots in doing that. The fight scene is actually okay. I didn't have any problem with that. It culminates with obviously Foggy, who gets shot, and as he's hearing the heartbeat and whatever, he actually defeats Bullseye and then just kind of pushes him over the side, which is a really pretty good callback to some comics. I really don't like how it goes from here, where they go immediately go to a courtroom case later on where Bullseye is on trial, but he's in a hospital bed, barely alive in the comic book. If you want to know, that's from the Death of Elektra story, which is, I assume, what they're referencing. The closest thing I can remember when that happens to Bullseye, but he always finds a way to survive. There's some of the promotional material. We get this. This is from that battle with Bullseye where he just basically just takes his helmet off. He's crying. He's weeping, whatever. And one of the horns is missing. Karen brings it to him after that little court hearing I was telling you about with Bullseye's trial. And some good imagery here. It was shot well. It composited well with the CG. It was all done very, very well in the first part. It's no surprise that the best elements of the show are, and probably will be, the fact that Vincent D'Onofrio is by far just a great Kingpin character, and we want more of him. Now, he's coming back after just complete failures, I got to be honest, at the end of Hawkeye, at the situation with Echo. They really taken his character and destroyed it in a lot of ways. At least Matt makes a comment about the fact that he was shot in the face and a little bit. And he has like this twitchy hand. He's doing this little twitchy thing. He's just a mess. And Vanessa has been there holding down the fort, so to speak, running the crime syndicate, making it sort of like giving him cover to kind of come back into the world. But there's stress there, this relationshipy Sopranos type stuff. I'm really not a huge fan of some of that. But the tension in this sequence of them being face to face, I think, was one of the high points. And then, of course, you get uh, the continuation in all of the trailers and the footage is all of that, and you have what is transpiring is he's going to run for mayor and ultimately win in episode 2. And I have to admit that not everyone is going to be down with some of the imagery here. They're going to read into it. I don't know kind of where to take all that. I didn't really find anything particularly odd with it. I don't want to say he's Trumpian, but there's a lot of parallels, right? They're trying to skirt around the edge, but I don't think it was ever on the nose enough to be distracting. I won't put it past them. They'll get more on the nose. The one thing for me that I had a hard time with all that in the first two episodes was all of the sort of like pro New York rah 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 type stuff about how violent everything is, and yet we're all supposed to be like rooting for New York. I don't know about anybody else, but I was just like, that doesn't land for me anymore. Like, I'm just sort of over the New York thing. There's a quick comment about Spider-Man and Punisher and whatever. That was all great. It makes me feel like they're aware of the universe that does at least exist, even though we feel kind of disconnected from what they're talking about. So one of the key moments that's teased in the trailers is kind of the other backstory. It's this character that is basically White Tiger. He is the new vigilante in town. They show him on like a closed circuit camera, and then he ends up in a subway where there's this big fight, abuse of this individual. He jumps in, and in the process, it's kind of spoiled in the trailer, which I thought was kind of a little bit. He basically accidentally kills the guy. Like, the guy basically just lands in front of the train. And obviously it's going to set up the fact that Matt's going to defend him, because Matt can tell that he's being honest. He's telling the truth, even though they can't find the witness. They don't know how to prove it and all that. So it's kind of giving the lawyer side story arc a jumping off point and setting up the vigilantes that are out there. And I got to be honest, all of this was threaded together pretty well. I enjoyed all of that. So the other piece that goes with that was the very climax with episode 2 was he's there. They track down this witness, and because they didn't know where he was, Matt's on the hunt, and then they attack him. It turns out they're actually 2 cops. So Matt is constantly getting beaten and battered. He's trying to hold back. They ultimately pull a gun. You see the dramatic blood droplets, right? Before he actually fights back. Here's the shot of Bullseye in the jail. I don't know if that was the shot in the final version, but that's what his shot is. So that's from something else we haven't seen yet. So there's a lot of footage in the trailers that we haven't seen yet. The Punisher appearance wasn't in anything yet. Here's James Gandolfini's son, Michael. He plays one of the aides for Kingpin. He was okay. Kind of a forgettable character. Nothing of any major significance to report there. I just think that all in all, it's still just a lot more setup than it is anything else. They give Matt a new girlfriend named Heather. She won't be around long, and that's fine. That's what happens in the comic book. So the other character or villain that's sort of like very loosely teased in the first 2 episodes, but there is a quick shot of him. You get this in the first couple episodes. This whole Kingpin mural, if you will. Muse is this villain that's existing now. Now Muse is an interesting villain because he is using victims. He's like a serial killer that uses their blood and stuff to make his art. He has a complete deranged disrespect for the living. So he'll kill you and use you as a way to incorporate you into the art. And he doesn't really have a way of parsing out what people would be offended by that. It's just what he does. So it's kind of being set up. There's a quick shot of the character. I'm pretty sure it's the actor from Wednesday. I'm pretty sure that's who he's supposed to be, Muse. We'll get more Muse. The trailer does have a quick little shot of him, but that wasn't in the first couple episodes. And I said earlier, like, this was the best exchange. This is the best stuff. It's just them talking. I don't know how to feel about this too, because the creators were very disrespectful to the Netflix show about some of this stuff. So I feel like I'm enjoying this show more than I have anything by Disney in a long while, but I also don't feel like I trust their intent over the long haul. So yeah, I don't know what most people have felt and what the general consensus is. I've actually thought this was all really good and probably some of the best Disney Marvel. But they get you all the time with the shows that start off. They start off super strong, and by the time we're at the end, we're all like done and over it. So I'm very, very reluctant and hesitant to say positive things, because I also don't want to hang my hat on the fact that I believe it'll be good for a whole season. I just don't believe that. They don't have that kind of trust. They don't get that from me. So I don't know what you guys think, if you watched them or not. I'm interested to watch different reviews. I'm sure by now there are several. I've seen a couple thumbnails pop up, so I kind of quickly try to get past that, because I don't want anything to spoil this for me. I'm recording this on Friday. Just watched them yesterday, so we'll kind of see what the consensus is and see where they go, because we'll have to get Muse into the mix. We'll have to deal with the White Tiger thing. The relationshipy stuff will come to fruition, and we'll see more of the dark side of Kingpin, because there's a couple quick little things, but nothing major. I will just say there's also a lot of talking, especially with these other secondary characters that we don't care too much about. The cop, the girlfriend, whatever. It's like, yeah, it could have all been parts, but it's there to pull all this apart over the course of some time. You know, they're 8-hour movie, if you will. So it was not bad, not a bad start. Definitely better than I expected, but also not like I have any trust to hang my hat on that I'm going to believe that I'm going to be saying the same thing 8 or 10 episodes from now, however long the season turns out to be. So that's my thoughts on it, though. I'd love to hear what everybody else thinks. You guys hit me up and let me know. I am Pops.